So now we are welcoming Michael Morardo, so from Airbus Cybersecurity. He is a solution manager at Airbus Cybersecurity, and he will present the cyber threat monitoring system.
Okay, so I'm Michael Morardo, and as David said, I'm working for Airbus Cybersecurity. Today I'm gonna present two security tools. Cymarius first, which has been used on the SAFECARE project, and then Prophecy. So we are starting with Cymarius. So Cymarius is a security orchestrator. He is used with a CM, usually in a SOC. His specialty is to collect event security and let the operator modelize the infrastructure, the information system. With the modeling of your information system, you are able to have a really good idea where an incident event is impacting your system. And you can also have an idea of the propagation of the impact through the whole system. Cymarius is our historical security orchestrator. It has been used primarily on SAFECARE. But today I'm going to introduce a new solution from Airbus Cybersecurity. This solution is also a security tool that shares some similarities with Cymarius, but achieve kind of the same goal differently. It's called Prophecy. So it's a cyber defense tool. It can be used by SOC and SOC analyst, SOC operator, but not only. We have based this, the whole tool on 3 ideas. The first one is simply manage any incident coming from the CM. The second one is ticketing, and more in the idea that thinking about the collaboration through SOC operator and SOC analyst. And the third one is orchestration through automated workflows. So I'm gonna go more in details about these 3 ideas. So to give you a better view how the tools interact with a security system, usually you will have your information system that is monitored with a sensor that will send logs to the CM. The CM will correlate the different logs and send alerts to the security tool called usually SOAR, S-O-A-R. That's where Prophecy will be usually placed in your system. It will be able to interact with different security tools like your CMDB, for instance, or MISP, which is very well used in SOC for any IOC. You can also have an interaction with managing tools like Jira, Confluence, or any other like this. So the idea behind Prophecy is to have a very open API and a very easy way to interconnect with the different systems that you can find in a SOC. One of the ideas behind Prophecy was to provide a new way to explore the data. Usually the SOC or analyst have to face a lot of data, a lot of alerts coming from different CM, not only one, and they have usually very few, not a lot of time to process any alerts, any incident. Most of them are usually false positive, which means they are not important at all. But that's most of the information that's coming from a CM. And sometimes you have a real incident, and that's the one that you have to find and process as quickly as possible. So the idea is to offer new way to explore the data through relational graphs. The other idea is to enable the operator to pivot from any data from a prophecy. So you can jump from an alert to another one, or to an artifact, which is a technical component of an alert. You can also jump from an artifact to a ticket that is related to the alert. So the idea is to be able to jump from an information to another easily. And finally, we are starting to work on machine learning as a support in the idea that operators usually don't like to have a black box in a SOC. They like to know how things work and why they get a result and why they get the information that the machine is giving them. So so the idea is to provide machine learning modules that are understandable by the analyst. In the idea to react quickly and efficiently, we have changed a little bit how we used to be on Symerius. On Symerius, you have a reaction that are sequential action that you can do when an incident is coming to your system. In Prophecy, we have opened up the reaction system, and we call it a workflow. The idea behind is that you can execute multiple tasks, which are multiple action. The tasks are basically scripts that you can write and make them do whatever you want. And you can chain them with different operators, like a split one or a synchronized one, which will be able to give you the ability to execute different paths of your workflow depending on the context of your alert. For instance, you can have a task that will be executed only if your alert has an IP address in its artifact. If it doesn't, the workflow will take another path. Finally, we have a templating for the ticket. So you will be able to tailor-made your template for your ticket. So it will fulfill your needs exactly. Usually, every SOC, every entity does things a little bit differently. So the best way to be able to provide something interesting for everyone is to provide something that is highly customizable. So with all those tools in your hand, the idea is that you will be able to protect your information system quite more efficiently. It's not just one feature that will make you give you a better advantage over anything else, but it's a combination of the different layer of security and functionality that the product can provide. So with the workflows, the machine learning modules, and the clear visualization, you should be able to react in a faster fashion than usually, which should reduce the impact of an incident on your information system. To give you an idea on what we are working tomorrow, to be clear, that's not implemented, but this is what we aim to. We are going to work on alert correlation, causality, priority scoring, and severity. All of those modules are mainly related to machine learning. And for a very, very far goal that we are trying to reach, we want to have automated qualification, which is a very sensible topic because, as I said before, operators and analysts in the SOC don't like the idea to have an information that they do not understand, and especially if the information is false, it can have a bad influence on the perception of the tools. We would like to link any event to the kill chain, maybe through the help of an MISP with the IOC, the most recent IOC that are circulating in the world and having a cross-relation between this IOC and the information that we can find on your system. And finally, maybe make some projection, gives you an idea that you might be attacked in a few days or in a few weeks. Maybe not as precisely as that, but more like a weather information. Maybe the next month is going to be more risky than the previous one, but it's very, very ambitious. So we will see where we go with that. So that's it for Cymarius and Prophecy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Do we have questions in the auditorium to ask to Michael? No? Or online? Do you have questions? Okay. So thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
So now we'll...
Thank you, David. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Eric Carl. I'm a solution manager at Airbus Cybersecurity, and I'm going to talk about Orion Malware, our platform to detect and analyze malware. Just a few words about the context. Today, we know that the villains are outside. We know that they have a willingness to strike because money is a very good motivation. They have also the capacity because they are highly skilled and they are well organized. And they are looking for the opportunity to strike. They are looking for weaknesses or breaches they can exploit in whatever the information system. So we don't have to search for a long time before finding many headlines about attacks. Half of them are carried out by malicious files. So malware is a common way for attacker to target their victims. One way to target a victim is the phishing. It's the main mean used by cyber criminals. It's not the only one. How can Orion Malware can help to deal with this threat? Well, Orion Malware is a platform to detect and analyze malware, and the way it works is very simple, very straightforward. First, you send a file to Orion Malware, and then you get a verdict about the severity of the file, of the malware, and then you get a report which explains why the severity is severe, high, low, or maybe the file is safe. Some of the benefits of Orion Malware are the following. You can prevent attacks on your infrastructure. You can also leverage third-party equipment and systems because Orion Malware is going to collect files from your proxy, web proxy, maybe an IDS, an IPS, even from file attached in MS Exchange. And as an output, you can raise alert on your CM from Orion Malware. Another benefit is to ease decisions that teams have to make. We have cybersecurity teams and we have also users. Both of them can take advantage of Orion Malware because they can rely on tangible and accurate information in order to be sure that they are making the right decision at the right moment. Another part of the benefits is to save time. Orion Malware does reverse engineering of a file, and it can save 2, 3, maybe 4 days, because most of the work will be automated in Orion. You can boost your threat intelligence because Orion Malware is able to extract automatically indicator of compromission, and you can share them with a threat intelligence platform. And finally, you can optimize the results you get because what you want is to have the highest detection rate and also the lowest false positive rate. And Orion Malware is an open platform which allows you to customize your your policy of detection. As a result, you protect your infrastructure from malware with Orion. A few words about the core of the detection engines inside Orion malware. The key word here is the combination of 5 different engines. We have a whitelist to detect files which are safe. We can deal with known threats with antivirus and also Yara and Python rules. And also we can tackle unknown threats by using an advanced static analyzer which uses artificial intelligence. We use deep learning for script identification. We use machine learning models for some file formats. And also we have the sandboxing in Windows and Linux. So inside the sandbox, we observe the behavior of a malware. This sandbox is equipped with anti-evasive mechanism, and also the sandboxing uses a kind of hooking which is undetectable from malware. So the combination of those 5 engines is the assurance that we have a wide range of detection. The result is the verdict and the report. In the report, you will have all the heuristics. You have a mid-track representation, you have a timeline representation, and you have also all the indicator of compromising. A few words about a threat which might be specific in the medical area, about the DCOM file which are used for images. There is a weakness, a vulnerability in this file format, because in the header, it is possible to embed what we call a portable executive file. So an attacker can use this format of file to embed a malware and then make it detonate in the infrastructure of the victim. So Orion malware is able to detect this kind of threat because we can detect that the DCOM file has been modified with this peer inserted. And also in the sandboxing, we can assess what is the behavior of this malware which has been embedded in the file. In a second case, we can have also malware which aims at modifying a DCOM file in order to weaponize it. In this case, Orion malware can assess the behavior of this malware on the DCOM files inside the sandbox and then assess the level of severity. So we have many kind of threats which can be used in order to target an infrastructure like an hospital. And DCOM files are part of the range of detection of Orion malware, among also other ransomware. How Orion malware can be integrated in a chain of security. In the first case, we can collect files automatically from different equipment, like a web proxy, an IDS, or an MS Exchange server. All those files will be analyzed by Orion. Orion will send back a verdict, and depending on the verdict, the severity of the file, then the equipment, the system, will decide to block the file, to erase it, to put it in quarantine, or to allow it through the network. In the second case, we can raise alert in a CM for cybersecurity teams. They can also manually decide to analyze files using the expert portal of Orion malware. We have also another use case which is dedicated to users with no prior expertise in the cybersecurity field. They can use a web portal which has been designed to be very handy, very straightforward to use. You drop a file and then you get a result. If you have a USB storage device which can enter your infrastructure, then you can use also White Station. We have a Cube anti-malware station which use antivirus and also Orion malware static analyzer embedded inside. And they are able to detect malware which are known and also unknown. So you have this complete architecture here in order to secure your infrastructure. The last use case is whenever you want, you can export from Orion malware reports indicator of compromising, and you can share them with your third-party equipment through your MISP platform. Last quick word about the way Orion malware can be integrated. Orion malware is proposed through appliance. Orion malware is also can be used through SaaS mode. In both cases, we can have a resilient and scale-up architecture in order to deal with high volume of files. And we have also the Cube Station, which are equipped with the Orion malware analyzer inside. And we provide support, training, and professional services also as part of the product. I think that's it for this presentation.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Is there any questions? The answer?
Yes, I have received some question. Is Orion malware a tool dedicated to experts in the cybersecurity field?
As we have seen before, we have both parts for this answer. So yes, Orion malware is dedicated to experts in the cybersecurity fields. They can take advantage of it. But not only, we have also a web portal which is dedicated to users with no prior experience in the cybersecurity fields, because they can play the role of sentinel in an infrastructure. So for this web portal, they could just drop a file and then get a result. The report is simplified, so they can deal with a threat on their own. And behind this web portal, we have the same engines that for the expert portal. So the means of detection are exactly the same, but the way we report the information to the user is very different depending on its profile. So both kind of user can use Orion malware, expert and non-expert.
And can the Orion malware be updated online and offline?
Yes, Orion malware has been designed to address both cases. So if you have a context in which there is a connection possible to the internet, so yes, Orion malware can be updated from this internet connection. And if you are in a context where you have an air gap between Orion malware and the outside, then you can update it offline as well. So both modes, online and offline, are supported.
And last question, how many files can be analyzed in 24 hours?
So it depends on your use cases. Basically, we start with 1,000 analyses a day. And after that, you can reach maybe 100,000 analyses a day, depending on the architecture you want to implement. I think that we have seen that just previously with this architecture, with the Asha proxy, the load balancer. We can stack appliance on-premise or in the cloud, and so we can increase the capacity of Orion malware to deal with high volume of files.
Okay, so I will present the Airbus Cyber Range. So first of all, before beginning by presenting the Cyber Range, so it's our simulation platform, and it has been used for this project, so the SAFECARE project. So how it has been used? It has been used because of we can simulate every environment, if it's IT and OT. So for our customer, it's really an opportunity to test, I would say, some systems, some software, and maybe to make some pre-production. So when I talk about some use cases, so they can reproduce really realistic, complex system. So, but by doing this, when you reproduce your entire architecture, your entire topology, maybe you want to do some more. So you can also interconnect some devices. Maybe it's if you work in an OT environment, so maybe you can connect some controllers. Or even if you are in IT, you want to connect it to your environment. So in order to have another systems plug with your current system, or maybe you want to test some appliances, so you can benchmark your appliance directly connected to the Cyber Range. So there is a different kind of use cases. So here are the main value added of the Cyber Range. So you can reproduce your system, your architecture. You can have your you can interconnect. So it's a hybrid capacity. So by this way, we can say that it's open. By another way to say that you can personalize your Cyber Range is that, okay, we deliver the Cyber Range. It's a real platform. You can design your own topology, but also we provide some catalog, some library of different content. So by this way, we have some content of action. So I can say the action, there is some legitimate and illegitimate action. So we can have some action like a generation traffic, but for illegitimate, as we are talking about cybersecurity, and that's our main mission. So we also include some cyber attacks, different kind of cyber attacks, in order for you to personalize it and to directly, I would say, run these different use cases. And by this way, you can also have some scenarios. So what are scenarios? Scenarios are quite simple to understand because of there is some action. We can say that's a unit, it's one action, and the scenarios, it's a sequence action, so it can be in parallel or in sequence mode, so one by one. And we check the result of one, and after that, you can go to the other step. So why we are doing this? In order to fully automated some use cases, so you have some scenarios, and also because of in a cybersecurity we have some, maybe you already know the term of kill chain. So there is different steps in order when you attack, I would say, a victim. So you can simulate this kind of kill chain in our Cyber Range. And because of we are presenting some products, so the Cyber Range can be in physical, so on-premise, or in the SaaS, so on the cloud. So it's really simple to access to the Cyber Range, depending of the customer. So little overview about the component of the Cyber Range. So if I go back in time, so about the historical, so the Cyber Range have been designed for our purpose, and after that for some military domain, and we extend to some enterprise customer. So it's about the basis, it's on a VMware and Docker, so it's just about the virtualization base, the virtualization platform, and after that we have some work zone. So for SAFECARE, we are working on a SaaS mode, and we have been working on one work zone in order to define, to realize, to design an architecture, and after that we can interact with your topology. So how do we do that? The idea is really simple. You just need to have a browser, so a modern browser, like Chrome, Firefox, as you want. And after, you will go directly in the software, and you can interact. You can really, I would say, you can deploy an asset even knowing how does it work behind, because of we make it really simple for the customer to deploy an architecture. By this simple, I would say, gesture, you can deploy some assets. And after you have doing that, you can also you can do the same for the network. So you can, as I said, interact with the asset. We can launch the action directly. You can manage all the user and groups differently on the work zone. And because of its, the feature, we target about the content. So what the value added of CyberRange, it's also your content. So for SAFECARE, it's about, the content they have designed and introduced in the CyberRange in order to make some personalized action and scenarios in order to be real and realistic, in order to be like it was in the real environment. Like, if the attacker goes on this, they didn't see if it's a real one or a fake one. So as I said, there is some library of bundle, virtual components, network topology, action scenarios, documentation, and as I said, you can add your own content. And I talk about interconnection, so it's about gates. We call it the gates. So in a few words, I will pass just 2 slides, and after I will make a really quick demonstration. So as I said, the typical use case is operational test and validation. So for SAFECARE, we use it as a, we can say that it's a pre-production mode. So we already have a full architecture, and we can launch some attack and scenarios on this project. But we can imagine some other different use cases like exercise, training, education. So like for exercise, we have made a real, I would say, digital twin. So the real one architecture. And after that, the customer only, so some engineers knows about the CyberRange, some others didn't know, and they make an attack, and after that, the engineer that doesn't know it's on the CyberRange will assist, but the one that are not on this exercise will go directly on the CyberRange and will run the action that they are normally doing on the real environment. So in order to test the process, in order to test also the defense, so we can also make this one. So also for before a demonstration, we also have some features because of we work with many, I would say, institutions or schools. So we can also have some community in order to share your content if you want. So in order to improve the library, so you can also do this. So for the demonstration about the feature I just explained, it's always. So, 1 second, sorry. So as you can see, it's on Chrome. Okay. So I will. So as you can see, I just enter in my work zone. So work zone, maybe I didn't explain well, but a work zone, it's your environment when you can let your imagination be, yeah. So you can deploy, you can design your own architecture. So I already deployed this architecture. So it's a typical IT one. But in order to show you how does it work, the CyberRange, so I will change my my work zone, so I can go on this one. So it's just a little one in order to show you how I can deploy some assets. So if I go on the library, I will check for one asset. So it's already a website I already register. So I can just, by doing this, deploy it. So as you can see at the bottom, it's successfully deployed. So it just takes a few seconds. I will do the same for the network. So if I go on the network, I can also do the same for the network. I will make the interconnection. So for this one, okay. So in order to interact with your asset you just deployed, so I already deployed the Windows 10 on the Kali Linux. So as you can see, I can go directly in my laptop in this platform, and it's a real one. You can play with it directly. So we have the same for some other operating system. So I can do the same for this one. So it will take just a few seconds. And if I go on my Windows 10, I can go on this shopping website. How many times did I have left? 1 minute or 2 minutes?
1 2 minutes. Yes.
Okay, fine. So just in order to finish, normally, because I shut my demonstration, but I go on on this work zone, and normally I show you that okay, I have represented and designed an entire IT company, not a big one, but a little one. And as you can see, there is some red icons with attackers. And this one will launch an attack. So because I already registered some attack, I can go on action and launch directly an attack. So it's really simple. I can check directly here or directly in this menu. I will launch the attack, so it will be fine. So normally, I didn't go into details, but when I launch this attack, this guy, the only key one, will open his email. He will go to, he wants to do the good, but when he opens the attachment, it will be a ransomware, so the PC will be locked. But because we have many features on the CyberRange, I will go back in time because we have the feature called snapshot. So we can do this, and we also have the possibility to save the entire topology and to backup it. Maybe if you have many version of your training, of your system. And you can also have, in order to finish, so you have action, and I called about the scenarios. So what are the scenarios? So you define one action, but maybe you want to make, I would say, to train some of your security engineers. So you define an entire kill chain, and after that, your security engineer have to play against, I would say, the scenarios you define, and you can just launch it as I've done before. So I cannot show every feature of the CyberRange, but it's the major feature, I would say, of the CyberRange.
Okay, thank you, Ewin. Any questions about the CyberRange? Do we have questions online? No? Okay. Thank you, Ewin, for the presentation of the CyberRange.
Thank you.
It was well appreciated, your live demo.